Right there guys, this is Dale of Lone One by Airsoft, and today we are taking a look at the Action Army AAP-01 gas blowback pistol. Now, I know I'm quite late to the party with this one. I actually picked this pistol up at the end of last year, but due to tier restrictions and lockdowns in the UK, I didn't really get as much game time as I wanted to at the time, so I kind of had to wait over the Christmas period until sites started opening up, get a few more in, because I wanted to make sure that the gun wouldn't break a couple of games out of the box. I've definitely got the gaming time in with it now, but it took a bit longer than usual. As always, if there's a specific part of this review you want to skip ahead to, say if there's a certain thing you want to find out about the gun, timestamps are down in the description below, so if you can click on those, it'll skip straight to the part of the video that you're most interested in. And with that out of the way, on with the review. The Action Army AAP-01 is not a direct replica of any real steel firearms out there. However, it does lean heavily into the design and is quite obviously inspired by the Ruger Mark IV 2245 Light, which was a target shooting pistol. It was primarily chambered in .22 long rifle. Because it was originally designed as sporting and hunting with mind, it's not been really adopted by any policing or military outfits around the world. However, the initial design of the original Ruger standard this was based on was basically lifted from the Japanese Nambu Mark 14, which was adopted in the 1920s by the Japanese Imperial Army and used right up until the conclusion of 1945. The fact it quite heavily resembles the German Luger pistol designs from around about the same era was actually something of a happy coincidence that the marketing team was more than happy to lean into when initially selling this pistol. As for the Airsoft version, I say it's not a direct one-to-one of the Ruger. There's a couple of little aesthetic differences, but the main one being that it only accepts TM Glock style magazines. So it's definitely something of an interpretation rather than a direct replica. The design was very unique when the pistol first launched. It definitely has its own unique look to it, or it did, right up until recently when WE have announced their Galaxy line of pistols, which are more of a replica of the Rugers mentioned earlier. And so now pose something of a direct competitor to this pistol, but I'd argue that they have different niches in the market in mind, which I'll go into depth later on. So the first things you're going to notice then when you actually use the Action Army AAP-01, it is lightweight, it is comfortable, and it is sturdy. Like, it is primarily ABS polymer plastic construction, like with the occasional bits of metal dotted here and there, but it is mostly like ABS. And that's not going to be to everyone's taste. Most people prefer real metal on their guns. I personally don't care, as long as like the polymer is solid, which this one is. I have never much cared about that. One thing I really do quite like about the design of it as well is how the top slide itself doesn't reciprocate when you fire, unlike most pistols. Instead, it's just this little cylinder at the back that does. And what that means is, as this is fired, there's less mass moving about in the pistol, so it's easier to stay on target. It's got a faster fire rate as a result of that. And personally, I really like the design ethos behind that. The next thing you'll notice when you start to scrutinise it a bit closely is, hang on a minute, there's holes for rails on both the top and underside of the pistol, but no rails are included in the box. It is something of a bare bones package when you first get this one. I do really love the fibre optic sights on top. They give a really quite nice sight picture, but I know some people might feel a bit let down by the fact that the potential to ship this with rails is clearly there and they didn't take it. But again, I think that's something to do with the design philosophy of when they launched this pistol. Primarily, they wanted it to be a bare bones version when they shipped it, the benefits of which we'll go into a bit later. So, what do you get in the box when you've bought yourself an Action Army AAP-01? The answer is not much. So, when you open it up, you can literally have a cardboard like egg thing kind of keeping it in place there. You have a pistol, you have a mag, and if you lift it up underneath, you have a couple of pages worth of manual. Yeah, bare bones is definitely how I describe this little production here. Also, no more flamboyant than it needs to be, as well as how I'd say. Like, they've clearly wanted to put this at the cheapest price they can get away with. So they're not throwing in any accessories, they're not throwing in things like speed loaders, just because they want to keep the base price of the pistol down. And I can understand why, because that low cost is such an attractive price for someone. Say you're looking for your first pistol ever, and you're looking around the range, oh, 120 quid here, 130, 140 over there. 80, 90, you can get for this one. And it's fully automatic, and it's TM Glock compatible. That's such an attractive prospect for someone, especially if you're looking for your first pistol or you just want a backup weapon, something like that. So yeah, there are no frills and whistles with the box or the package as a whole, really. Like, you don't get any fun extras, you don't get rails, you just get the pistol, the mag, go. So whether that's something that puts you off is up to you, but for me, I can kind of understand why they've done this. Okay then, so let's go over some of the features of the gun, starting right at the back with these two tabs that you pull on to activate the reciprocating bolt and charge the pistol. Now, I know there are people out there that don't like these. They are objectively on the small side, and so you can get aftermarket parts to make them bigger or have like a ring pull system, but for me, I'm fine with them. I've never had a problem with these. Like, it's never been where I'm in game and I've gone to rack the slide and missed, so as far as I'm concerned, they serve their purpose perfectly well. I have no qualms with these. Up on the top, you've got some fibre optic sights, 2 green at the back, 1 orange at the front. Give a really quite nice sight picture when you're looking down sights with these, and I really like the fact they're different colours. Like, just having that different colour at the front one means you can quite easily line them up and take your shots and get a good quick sight picture. Also on the top, you have 2 screw holes on the top and 2 underneath the barrel, which you can use to have some aftermarket rail parts on. They don't come with the pistol. You would have to buy them separately, which is a bit of a bummer, but the fact you could just screw them on and that's it, done. Yeah, nice. And I think the fact that these weren't included as part of the standard pistol has driven the price down, which is something that is very much in its favour. The entry price for this is ridiculously cheap. Next then, behind the reciprocating bolt, you have this little button just under here. Now, pressing this in will allow you to tip open the actual top side of the pistol itself and get in at the internals if you wanted to disassemble it. That's how you do it. Just in front of there, you have the slide release just down here. So when you're pulling the bolt back, you can lock it in place by just pushing this up, and you can let it go by pushing it down. In front of that is the safety. Now, the safety I think could be better. Like, when you're shooting right-handed, it's quite easy to put it back onto fire. So you're pushing it from the right side inwards. The left side pops out red. That shows it's off safe. Great. What you can't do is push it back in with your thumb. It's a bit too far away. Like, you can't really just reach. So you kind of have to offhand it to do that. It's fine. It works. Like, as a safety, it's perfectly usable. Like, it just completely locks the trigger up. You can't actually shoot the gun with it. Never had any problems with it as a safety. Just the ergonomics could be a little bit better is my point. Underneath that is the trigger, and it has another safety feature in the middle of the trigger. It's one of those like little two-stage things. It's just a little bit of plastic on a spring. What it does is it stops the pistol from going off by just touching the side of the trigger. You have to properly get your finger on it in order to fire. The really important bit about this safety feature is it's never stopped me from firing the pistol when I wanted to. I've played with other people's pistols in the past that have done that. This one just works fine. It does not get in the way. Sure, extra safety feature, fine with it. It has not stopped me from using the pistol when I wanted to use it. As for the trigger pull itself, it is crisp. Like, when you've got the mag in, it's not like race gun status, but firing off quick successive shots with this pistol feels really nice and crisp. It is very enjoyable to use with that. Love, love, love the trigger unit on this. Just behind the trigger is the mag release, which can be easily operated with your thumb if you're shooting right-handed. If you're left-handed, you are flat out of luck. You probably just have to use the middle bit of your trigger finger. Again, not complete ambidextrous here. Could have been better ergonomics, but anyway, which is fine. The mags themselves, like, I have never had feeding problems. Like, in the extremes of winter, we're talking like January, February, when there's snow on the ground, like, you may just find some gas spurting out the top when the mag gets too cold. That's probably because I was just using it on green gas, not winter specialised, but it is a thing that you need to be aware of. This gun won't work at full capacity with you all year round. Coming through winter, you will need specialised gas, and just be slower on the successive shots when you're firing. That'll help you get through winter with it. But yeah, other than that, no problems with the mag. A full charge of gas will easily get you through 2 mags worth of BBs here. So I have had games where I've just literally ran just the one mag and a speed loader and just a can of gas for when it eventually ran out. But yeah, you can fill this up twice and still get full mags out of it on one charge of gas, which is very nice to see. My one qualm, however, is that when you go to use the mag release, especially if you are completely out of ammo with the mag, it tends to stick in the pistol. Like, you really have to yank on the bottom of it to get it out sometimes, which is a bit of a pain when someone's trying to bear down on you and you really need that reload. But yeah, that is literally my only mechanical qualm with the pistol. Everything else has worked fine for me. The range is good, the accuracy is good. Rate of fire is nothing to write home about, but it is fun, and it is definitely something there to take advantage of, and just so much fun to use. And yeah, I've actually managed to get to the situation where I was running this as a backup for my sniper rifle, and I was actually getting more kills with the pistol than the sniper rifle, so make of that what you will. But yes, lots of features. Ooh, last feature I nearly forgot was the little 14mm CCW thread at the front, which is just covered by this little cap. I like how the fact it's grippy on here. It's got like a nice stippling the entire round. It's very easy to remove, and you can put your suppressors and tracer units on the top, and they fit very snugly on the pistol. Very much a fan of that. So yeah, great performance, great reliability. Could have been a bit better with the ergonomics of the pistol, and the fact the mag sticks can be a bit annoying, but other than that, great all round. So, how does this pistol chrono out of the box? Now, I've never had problems getting to indoor sights with this one because it would consistently cross around about the 320, 330 mark. Obviously, this being a gas blowback, you can expect that FPS to drop with subsequent shots, but it tends to hover around that 320, 330 mark. So yeah, you can take this to any indoor site and never have to worry about being too hot for the chrono, which is very nice to see. Also, last when I was at MCG, I managed to get in a shooting test with this pistol. I was firing from a stable position from about 30 metres away from the target initially, and then moved a bit closer to 20 metres when the 30 wasn't quite working out for it. I was using 0.25 gram BBs and firing from a stable position.
So I will be crouched down, single shot, resting one of my arms on my knee, trying to get as stable shot as possible. So we'll just fire a few downrange just to show you. And just for funsies, let's have a full auto burst, shall we? Yeah, you can definitely tell the gas is starting to go in this cold temperature. So, looking at the target at 30 metres, obviously this isn't particularly fair on the pistol, you've only got 2 points of contact, but we still managed to score a hit there and there at the full mag. A lot of them were going around the bucket quite close, but again, pistol at 30 metres, we're lucky we struck it at all. So we're going to move the target forward a little bit and see if we can hit it better at 20. So again, looking at the target, bearing in mind that this strike and this one was from the 30 metres, we've got an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits on target. I heard a lot of them, more of them hitting the board as well, so I mean it's 20 metres, you're a lot closer, but for a pistol, just holding it with arm's length and not putting a vice, that's not too bad admittedly. Like 20 metres is about where you want to be engaging your targets with this anyway.
So, as can be seen from that shooting test, a sniper rifle in pistol form, this is not. I mainly attribute that to the fact it is a pistol. You can only have 2 points of contact on it. If it had something like a stock, you could probably really get that accuracy nailed down and get a tighter group. But it's a weird one, because with that shooting test, I always felt like in game this pistol was more accurate than that shooting test showed. Like, I always kind of felt like I could reach out and touch someone at a further range with consistency. But it could just be that I was surprised that a pistol could do it at all. But those are the objective results of the shooting test, unfortunately, so I can't really say that it is better or worse than those. Those are the results that we got. So, ultimately, would I recommend buying an Action Army AAP-01? Yeah. I've loved this pistol. I have no doubt in my mind that anyone who picks it up will have the same experience I have. Like, it is just so much fun, and you can't argue with the price they've put this at. Like, it's such an attractive baseline price, and I understand perfectly why they did it. They want to market this as cheaply as possible to get people in and buy the base pistol, and then they get the money back on the options that you can use to expand it with. I'm talking things like rails, the ring pull thing I mentioned earlier. You can get like big thumb rests, flared mags. You can even get a foldable stock that you just knock this pin out, attach the stock to the back, and suddenly it's a carbine. But the best thing for me is the fact it's fully Tokyo Marui Glock compatible. So all those internal parts that are associated with that you could use in this pistol. But the best thing for me is it takes the Glock magazines, so it can also take an Armourer Works drum mag. Suddenly my 90 quid pistol has 350 rounds on tap. This has just arrived today, by the way, and I cannot wait to take this out. I've had a couple of test shots with it. I know it works. Oh, I'm itching to try this and just run nothing but a pistol all day, because suddenly I can. So, yeah, the expandability of this pistol should not be underestimated. Yes, they sell you a very cheap bare bones package to begin with, but it doesn't feel cheap. It is fun, it is reliable, it is accurate. I've had a whale of a time with it, and I can absolutely guarantee you will have the same. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video review of the Action Army AAP-01 gas blowback pistol. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask me, feedback you'd like to give, or maybe you want to share your own experiences of this handgun, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And until next time, this has been Dale of Lone Wombat Airsoft.